The pulling. Once upon a time, I assumed that tensions were temptations. Although temptations were present, it wasn't the fight against each other that lasted within my thoughts, but the pulling of God saying that He allowed us to cross paths for a reason. So, I wrote a song about it. Usually when I do write a song, that particular scenario ceased, sometimes immediately. However, 2 nights later our eyes meet again, not for what the world would think, a physical attraction. For neither you or me are thinking of such ways. However, it is a spiritual attraction, but at this point I don't even know if that would make sense to you, as I kind of see from God that you're calling for an intervention within whatever you may be facing. I witnessed you sitting alone one day, outside on the side of the gate. I often, if not all the time, witness you and your companion, or a family member. At the library, I can't pretend that I know anything from those observations. However, I know that God is pulling you. Maybe things isn't so clear. Maybe things seem so far from alignment that maybe the temptation to fear. The past self is becoming like an evolving door that may bring it back in within any given moment. I can't say that you won't be tempted to bring him back out. In fact, I've been a witness on my end, which is how this has all started. How could this be? Why is it you that I witness, or why is it me? Truth be told, which is the only truth, only God can answer this, not me or not you. I don't know if you did any research on me, social media, Google, etc. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you won't hear this at all. Either way, I too still have questions. Not so much like in my past, but questions about the part of the journey I'm currently at. But let me ask you a question. And trust me, even if you do not hear this question via this audio, the question still remains in real life. And this question isn't just for the moment or some random throwback memory, but for a stepping stone to help keep you focused on a journey you may not see yourself on right now. Not that I can take credit for this credit, because I too, and still do, acknowledge this question. So here it goes. Why are you so different? Not different in the same way as the world says different. Not different in as in who can tell you why you're different. Not the kind of different where you can look at someone with your physical eyes and make sense of why you're different. Not any kind of different definition you or me nor anyone that was born can explain. This kind of different isn't physical. The unexplainable things you may have or may haven't noticed yet, many people would call them coincidences. Sometimes things work in your favor unexpectedly in what seems like the perfect timing. Sometimes we can look back and notice the things that didn't work in our favor that was never good for us in the first place. And then there's times when you may experience the undeniable fact it was never what you thought it was from the beginning. However, God's timing is perfect when revealing this fact to you. So I encourage you not to so much focus on what you can't see or hear at the moment, but keep your attention on God. See, your friends may not understand, even if a whole population taught them in school for over 20 years or a lifetime. This isn't man-taught, but it is brought to man. And I can honestly say that if you hear this earlier than I assume, and actually hearing this through God, at some point there will be forces against you. Not that there isn't forces against you now, but the more you're pulled by God, the more you realize that even your closest friends, family, etc., is blindly working against you. By this point, you may have some understanding of this fact, because you were once completely blind. However, please remember that they are just that, blind. We do not fight against flesh and blood, but spiritually. Maybe our indirect encounter was to be an example of just that. Or maybe something else that I wouldn't understand, because it's uniquely tied to you. And that, brother, is what only God can help you with, like all things, because you're different. So again, why are you different?
Why are you different?